The Beavers of Corry going into this one at 6-0 on the season against Iroquois, a respectable 3-3. So let's see if an upset was in the making. Corry started a drive midway through the first quarter. Ryan Peterson slashing off the left side for yardage. And then Ron Allender goes to the air. Peterson is his target. He picks up a nice gain, a gain of 12 on the play after the reception. This time, as the drive continues for the Beavers, it is Mike Davis. Watch him squirt through the right side, breaks a couple of tackles. Finally, Paul Penberthy brings him down from behind. Iroquois had trouble with Allender's count all night as they altered the count, and Iroquois jumped offside numerous times throughout. The Beavers stayed on the ground in the drive. Here's Todd Harrington, their leading rusher, going in, taking it down to the 20-yard line and another first down. Allender then gets the Braves to jump off sides again. Using the offsets, the count, that sets up this play. Davis up the middle. Watch him dive in for the score. The extra point was good. Corry in the first quarter taking a 7-0 lead. In the second quarter now, Iroquois started to move the football. Here's Chris Oswalt working the right side. By the time they finally gang tackle him down, he's got 15 yards and a first down. Then Oswalt will try the left side, but this time Corry's defense is much tougher. He only gets 3 before he finally bites the turf. They try that same play again, and watch. The Corry defense stops it for no gain as he's ridden out of bounds. Just before the half, the Braves have to punt. And watch Mike Davis. He'll field the punt. He'll go outside, then break back to the middle when he picks up some blocks, and it's off to the races. A 64-yard touchdown run. Corry is on their way to a 21-0 lead, and the Beavers will go into their big game with Harbor Creek next week with a
goes on the road. Iroquois' playoff chances. The Braves know they're in a must-win situation.
Well, we need to win at least our last 3 of just to make the playoffs, and that's really our goal for the whole season. And I think starting tomorrow will be one of our last 3 wins.
Well, we got to keep the ball. We got to keep them off the offensive side. Just keep their defense on the field all day and score a lot of points on them, basically.
One of the best series in college.
Get in the playoffs first before you can figure out who you're going to match up against and play. So
that Corry Harbor Creek game last night showed that.
That was a humdinger last night. That was worth attending. But we had another one today in the County League, and it was winless Girard going into the home of the Braves, seeking its first win of the season. Iroquois' playoff chances were riding on the first of 3 games that it had to win. Sort of one of those days, even for professionals. And the Iroquois punt team had troubles early too. Snap flies Dominic Price's head out of the end zone, 2-0 Girard. Late first half, Girard at the 1. Sonetta throws to the goal line, but Tony Stenger flies in and ends the threat. Well, the punt team redeemed itself, blocking a punt, ball to 2. 4th down, Chris Oswald backs in for the winning score. 6-2 Iroquois, the final.
We have a great deal of respect for him, but it's sometimes hard to get kids up to play an 0-17, but I think they learned a lesson today. This is a young team, and I think they learned that they can't take anybody for granted. But the defense came through in the second half and turned the ball.
First win in 2 years, the Jackets at Iroquois. This afternoon we go to some of the action. Good thing no one's seriously hurt in this game because the ambulance isn't going anywhere. Both offenses were stuck too. In neutral, Dave Marino, the Girard Jr. defensive back, stops an Iroquois drive with an interception. Let's go to the high school scoreboard. Not a lot of scoring in this one. You see the final. Iroquois beats Girard 6-2 the final. Oil City over Warren 28-15. A couple of games to talk about tonight. Prep is at Villa Angela St.
Season spots is heating up. Iroquois facing another must-win situation versus Fairview today. Third quarter tied at 6. Jack Beswick calls on Alan Chorney. He goes right for a first down in Braves territory, and the league's top rusher picks up 8 going to the left. Well, when was the last time you saw the old hook and ladder? A good time for it here. Bonatti tosses to Gartner, tosses to Chorney. Yeah, this bit of razzle-dazzle is good for 15 yards. 3 plays later, catch him if you can. Chorney takes it in from 9 yards out. The 2-point try fails, though. Tigers lead 12-6. The red and black also made the big play on defense. Scott Schnarr's toss finds the waiting arms of Vince Baer. As we go to the scoreboard here, Schnarr's hit on the winning touchdown as well. A 35-yard pass to Gennard with under 2 minutes left, and the Braves now just one win from the playoffs with their one-point victory today. Big game at the stadium tonight decides the Metro title. Tech versus Prep.
On it, and 3 plays later, Chris Oswald in the backfield takes the handoff, bangs up the middle for a Braves touchdown, making it 6-2, and that was the final at Iroquois today. Tonight at the stadium, it was
has to talk about. Not a good day for Jim Britt's Girard Yellow Jackets. You see Mike Gord with the interception here. It was all Iroquois on the afternoon as they go on to knock off Girard. As we go to the high school scoreboard, we see Iroquois over Girard 6-2. Oil City over Warren 28-15. Elsewhere on the high school scoreboard, Mike Gallagher, just back from the Cleveland St. Joe game, says Prep probably played their best game of the season this year. They look like they may be one of the best teams in the state of Pennsylvania. They thump St. Joe 31-6 is the final, and the final Tech over East 49-7. So, boy, I tell you what, Prep looks very, very good. That's probably the toughest test they've had all season long.
Lawrence Park as the Braves were trying to keep playoff hopes alive, taking on Jack Beswick and the Fairview Tigers. Go to Lawrence Park. Paul Penberthy comes up with a big sack of Chris Bonatti, but believe it or not, a defensive face masking would nullify the play and keep the drive alive. This is late in the first half. Alan Chorney would then go 28 yards down to the Iroquois 1-yard line, and they are trailing at this point 6-0. A few plays later, Chorney would take the handoff from Bonatti, get into the end zone, ties the game at 6. They talk about the importance of an extra point. Well, that certainly was. In fact, missing this would end up costing them the game, as it's off the uprights and back into play. Iroquois puts together a late drive, 1:43 left, 35-yard pass from Scott Schnars to Mike Gord for the touchdown, 13-12. The Braves go on to win this one. Let's look at the high school scoreboard. There you see the final. Prep and Tech getting underway about 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, however you want to call it.
.116 again, the final. It's Mike Gord for Iroquois, who caught the winning touchdown pass today. I kind of botched his name at 6, I'm sorry. But Iroquois won. Warren now at 19.
Closer to a D10 playoff berth with a 1-point win over Fairview. Top 20 college football, Auburn squeaked past Mississippi State.
Action, Iroquois trying to stay alive for a playoff spot. Fairview already has one. Here, Paul Penberthy with the sack of Chris Bonanni. Bonanni then gives to Alan Chorney, who goes 28 yards, keeps the drive going, goes all the way down to the 1-yard line. He would later carry the ball into the end zone to tie it at 6. And we'll take a look at that play in just a moment. But this game would come down to the wire, and Iroquois would end up pulling it out. And I think one play that will stand out was a mixed extra point. And the extra point split the uprights, literally hit the crossbar. Boom, no good. Iroquois wins it by the final of 13-12. Let's look at the scoreboard. There you see that final again. Prep, count them, 81-16. Now you know why. I forgot that score in there. Bishop Guilfoyle, one page not up there.
Unbeaten, but once beaten, once tied Greenville was in town. This was a toughie. Third play of the game. As you can see, it's windy out there, as it was throughout much of the game in your area. Third play of the game, the Huskies quarterback Chad Vogt breaks loose, and look at him go. He'll take it all the way down to the 2-yard line before he's finally dragged down from behind. Next play, as Vogt sets it up, they'll give it to Jay Sarvis for the score. Jay Sarvis for the score. 7-0 in favor of the Huskies right off the bat, stunning the visiting Greenville team. Greenville, however, comes right back. This is number 18, Andy Blatt. Watch him break it around left end, breaking tackles, and goes all the way to tie the score at 7-7. He would finish with 251 yards rushing tonight. Big night for Andy Blatt of Greenville. Huskies back on the attack. Vogt passes to Donnie Bernanowitz. A great one-handed catch down the sidelines for the little guy. And then the third down play comes up. Vogt to 23 Dan Ring, and watch him put it on the 1-yard line before he's finally brought down. Next play, Vogt keeps it himself around the left side. Touchdown. They would miss the extra point. 13-7, however, the Huskies had a 6-point lead. Husky defense goes to work. They'll toughen up. Blatt is your big running back. Remember the long touchdown run. But here, Greg Hooks will stuff him and then get some help. No gain. In fact, a loss on the play. Key fourth down play late. Harbor Creek stops Greenville deep in Husky territory as Greenville was trying to move the sticks and keep the drive going. Greenville later, however, blows a scoring chance. Watch this. Wide open. Drops it in the end zone. No touchdown, just an incomplete pass. Huskies threaten. Vogt to Bernanowitz. Nice catch again. The little guy can run and catch. First down in favor of Harbor Creek. They attempt a field goal. It was blocked. Now watch this. Vogt picks it up. Almost takes it all the way in. He's tackled at the 5. 13-7 Harbor Creek, however, they would win. Final score 35-21. Congratulations. All right, General McLean at home tonight against Maplewood. McLean's quarterback is Mike Mariana. Watch him scramble around, can't find a receiver, little pump fake, then see some open daylight and picks up some good yardage before he's finally bounced out by the Maplewood secondary. What a night for J.J. Rennick. Nice run for McLean as he follows his blockers and picks his hole. For McLean, it's Mariana again. This time his favorite target, Jim McAndrew, on the short drop. And the Lancers, he takes it in for a touchdown, 7-0 in favor of the Lancers. Touchdown for McLean. Now the Lancer defense is tough too. Watch them simply stop the Tigers running game cold. Those red jerseys, the Tigers saw a lot of them tonight. Maplewood on the option. Nice play for Mick Giliberto as he picks up a first down for the Tigers. And then Maplewood keeping it on the ground. Another run. This one is by Chad King as he swerves his way through the defensive secondary. Almost goes all the way, finally brought down from behind. But here now, the Tigers try the option play. But McLean will intercept the ball as they try to throw it under pressure. Scott Reed on the pickoff. Now watch, he tries the lateral. They pick it up and run with it. However, he was ruled down there. It was an interception. McLean had the football. J.J. Rennick, big night for him. We'll tell you his final numbers in a moment, but there's some more good yardage through the hole. And then McLean tries the field goal. Good snap, good kick. Final score, McLean wins it 35-6. All right, so General McLean in the driver's seat. They finish off a successful season. Unfortunately, with only 2 losses, finishing at 8-2 on the year, the Lancers will not be going to the playoffs. But a salute to Ken Walker and his gang down at General McLean for a great effort in the Erie County League this year. All right, Fort LaBeouf and East playing tonight, and this was a big game for the Bisons because if the Bisons would be able to win it and then hope for that Maplewood loss as you saw against General McLean, LaBeouf would be going to the playoffs. Bisons go to their inside game. Greg Nelson rumbling through the East defense. And again, here's the inside game and a guy that the East defense saw a lot of tonight. Number 44, Mark Feast, picking up some good yardage inside. The Bisons then go outside after punching at the East defense in the middle. Here goes Feast, nice block, 55, touchdown right into you, 7-0 in favor of Fort LaBeouf after the extra point. Now the Bison's job tonight, especially after they grabbed the lead, was to stop quarterback Rick Giles of East. This time he tries to scoot the corner, gets knocked out of bounds, and also knocks over all the water bottles for the Bisons on the sidelines. Second quarter, Bisons on the move again. Dan Alacio to Feist, here he is again, first down, makes the catch, and then is rolled out of bounds. They go to the other play, or I should say they go to the same play, but the other side. Alacio to Feist, touchdown, 14-0 in favor of Fort LaBeouf. And they would roll on for a big win tonight, 41-8, keeping their playoff chances going next weekend. Franklin and Fairview now. Franklin needed a win to get into the playoffs. Fairview is going, but they wanted to end the season with a win. It was 7-0 as we go to the second half. Franklin goes to work. Clay Wood, the left-handed quarterback who wears number 33, to Sean Young. Nice catch in traffic. And then Sean Young, big night. Look at this big back for the Franklin Knights. Gets outside, good gain, finally ridden down and bumped down at the 20-yard line. But a few plays later, it would be Young, and watch him busted right up the gut at you. Boom, into the end zone for a touchdown. The extra point was good, and the game was tied 7-7 midway through the third quarter. Fourth quarter now, Fairview was on the move. Kevin Bayer, they call him the aspirin. Tough yards inside for Fairview. And on 4th and 2, Fairview going for it, as you see, deep in Franklin territory. Chris Benanti, good play fake. Moves outside, throws, Bayer, touchdown. And Fairview, after the extra point, has a 14-7 lead. But watch what happens on the ensuing kickoff after the Tigers had just broken the tie. Remember Sean Young, the big back who led Franklin to their first touchdown? He's on the kickoff return. Look at him, read his blocks. Look at him, break tackles. Look at him go. He's almost going all the way. The safety man trips him up, but it's deep in Fairview territory, and it sets up Franklin big. Young, they'll give it to him right away. Bulling his way inside, shedding tackles. Big gain, finally ridden down by the secondary, but not after another first down for Franklin. They get it in close, 3rd and goal. Clay Wood will sneak it in as they went after the running back Young, but it's Wood who gets the touchdown. 14-13 out. Do they tie it or go for 2? You go for 2. They fake it to Young. They throw to a wide open Jamie Hanna. 15-14. Franklin with a 2-point conversion takes the lead. Last drive for Fairview. They were driving late in the game. Benanti gives it, fumble on the ground. Franklin recovers, and that's where it ended for Fairview tonight. All right, here's the scoreboard now. All of your high school football. Harbor Creek, congratulations to Dan Budashevsky, 35-21, as they'll go into the playoffs undefeated. And Fort LaBeouf with a playoff berth after beating East 41-18. McLean, Rennick, listen to this, 23 carries, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And J.J. Rennick, ladies and gentlemen, is the all-time General McLean rushing career leader. Congratulations to J.J. Rennick, new heights to shoot for. Franklin with the 15-14 win over Fairview. As you heard Minute George, we're not sure if Franklin is going to go to the playoffs or whether there's going to be some semifinals. We'll have to wait and see on that. Elsewhere, here's a surprise. Titusville bounces Corey 39-8, but congratulations to the Beavers on a fine, fine season. Iroquois ends their season with another win, 33-19 over Union City. Seneca shut out Academy tonight 21-0. Cambridge Springs blanking Kennedy Christian as they get ready for the playoffs. The Blue Devils, the French Creek Valley League
will also take part in District 10 play. LaBeouf will face Hickory. Fairview tangles with Lakeview, while the Iroquois Braves will battle West Middlesex at Northwestern High. The Braves are a young team, but they made a veteran-type move to reach the playoffs.
I feel real good about it because I think right now we're playing better than we've played all year. Against Fairview, I think we had a real solid game, and then against Union City, our offense really started to click. So we're excited.
The Braves won 5 of their last 6 regular season games. Now, time now for Panthers up. Fairview will play for the D10 title. Now, the other AA contest was a rematch of 1 year ago with Fort LaBeouf battling Hickory. Hickory won last year's contest, so the Bisons were looking at here's 1-point loss, so it will be an all-ECL final in AA. In Class A action, the Iroquois Braves made an all-ECL trifecta as far as playoff teams go. Dave Brenna tells us how the Braves made out against West Middlesex.
It was cold, it was wet, and the field was, well, a mess. Because of the conditions, the runners couldn't run, the passers couldn't pass, and the punt teams, you be the judge.
They limited everything you could do. You couldn't run too much of an offense. You couldn't run any plays where you had to get footing. It really limited you, and as a coaching staff, it really put us to the test.
By now, you've probably figured that there is no scoring in regulation, so let's cut right to the chase. Overtime. 4 tries from the 10, and the team that puts it in takes home a victory. West Middlesex put their fate in the hands of R.J. Bowers, but the stingy Brave defense didn't allow him in the end zone, and on 4th down, the Big Red opted for 3 points, but failed. The Black and Gold had a bit more luck driving to inside the 1. Phil Glass called on his booter, Dominic Price, and his 18-yarder was true. The Braves win it in OT, 3-zip.
During practice, Coach let me try out from 35 yards, so going in straight away, so I was pretty confident, and just kept my head down, put it straight through, won the game.
Iroquois improves to 7-4 on the year and advances to next week's district.
At the 5, but watch, fumble, the ball's on the ground, and you'll see number 21, Rob Gartner, recover it at the 2, stopping the Lakeview drive. Fairview then drives it downfield. Start of a big night for this man, the aspirin, Kevin Bayer, as he rumbles into the secondary for a first down for the Tigers. The drive would stall. The field goal attempt by Greg Feasant is good. 3-0 in favor of the Tigers. Lakeview on offense. The ball, watch, tipped, batted around, and there's Feasant with the interception in the secondary. Nice return as he's finally brought down from behind, but it's deep in Lakeview territory. A few plays later, here comes Bayer, bowling his way off the left side. Touchdown. The extra point was missed. Fairview had a 9-0 lead. Here comes Lakeview right back. Watch 15 quarterback Dan Jones, after faking to the fullback, follows him up the hole. There he goes, down the sidelines. He won't make it all the way. He'll finally be knocked out inside the 5-yard line. Lakeview first and goal from there. Next play, however, Ryan Thomas would finish it off. He scores the touchdown. They would add the extra point. It's a 2-point game now, Fairview leading 9-7. Late in the first half, Lakeview defense on this play would recover a fumble. That led to a field goal and had Lakeview up 10-9 at halftime off the Fairview turnover. But all Fairview in the second half. Opening drive capped off by the run from Bayer. Extra point was no good, but Fairview had the lead 15-10. Then in the fourth quarter, after the defense holds, Fairview on the march again. Bonatti to Jason Anderson, catches it and brings it to the 16-yard line. And a couple of plays later, Bayer, 3rd touchdown of the night, takes it in, 22-10. The Tigers win it and move on to the next round of the playoffs. All right, now the only question after Fairview won, and by the way, that broke a 2-game losing streak by Jack Beswick's Tiger. They'd lost their last 2 regular season games to Iroquois and to Franklin, but they're in the finals now. Would it be an all-ECL matchup? Because Fort LaBeouf was playing in the other semifinal game. This one down in Sharon, let's go there, and this was all defense as the Bisons of Fort LaBeouf in Sharon tonight was facing Hickory. All defense, as you will see, and tough. Hickory drove first and goal after a roughing kicking the penalty, but Sean Lafferty is stopped short of the goal line. So Frank Trigiani comes on, misses what would be his 2nd field goal attempt of the game, and the Bisons dodge a bullet, and that would be big, as you'll see. Fort LaBeouf takes over. Chris Fortin drops back, hits Greg Nelson, takes it deep into Hickory territory down the far sidelines. But after that, it was 3 and out, and Fort LaBeouf couldn't move the sticks any further. The Hornets then would mount another drive just before the half. Watch Mike Scott. Into the backfield he goes, 15 yards and a first down. And then their quarterback, Trigiani, hitting Tom Hale. Nice catch between defenders, a 35-yard gain. But on 3rd and goal, the Bisons hold strong. Trigiani back to throw, no time, gets sacked, and with no timeouts left, the half ended 0-0. 3rd quarter, the Hornets made their move toward the end zone again. Trigiani to Jason Allen. Watch him bolt his way down to the 20-yard line. Hickory is threatening. But the D stepped up again. Brian Stone stonewalled at the 5-yard line in the mud. And on 4th and goal, the pass to Allen is complete, but watch, short of a TD, LaBeouf with a goal line stand. That would turn out big because here's the final score, 6-0 in favor of Fort LaBeouf. LaBeouf dodged bullets, the defense came up big, and so with Fairview winning against Lakeview 22-10, we'll have a Fairview-Fort LaBeouf rematch in the District 10 AA Finals. Of course, the time and day of that game and site as well will be determined over the weekend. So it'll be the Tigers and the Bisons for the AA Marbles in District 10 next weekend, either Friday and Saturday. They'll decide the site and time, as I mentioned, over the weekend and tell us probably late Sunday night or early Monday morning. We'll be back to tell you about the single A matchups tonight, and there were some good games here, as well as preview the upcoming AAA bracket tomorrow. That's all. It's Watch 35, everyone, as we are thinking about and showing you the high school football playoffs of 1990. Now, we saw 2 Erie County leagues successful in the AA playoffs. Let's go to the single A playoffs now, because Iroquois out of the ECL was matched up with West Middlesex. This one played down at Northwestern High School. As you can see, field conditions were not at their best. This was all defense. Braves with a quarterback sack to stop a drive. Dominic Price coming up with the sack there. And with Iroquois on the march, West Middlesex comes up with an interception by Brian Gilmore, who picks it off in the secondary and fashions a nice return. But this one was all goose eggs into the 4th quarter. Iroquois was driving late in the game, about 2 minutes left. And watch, they try to go downfield, and there is Brian Gilmore with the interception again. We're going into overtime, a scoreless regulation. In the overtime, both teams get a shot from the 10-yard line until someone scores and then stops the other team. West Middlesex was first, despite the fact that Iroquois won the toss. It was tried on a field goal attempt, no good on 4th and 4. So Iroquois had their chance. The Braves on 3rd and goal get it down to the 1-yard line, and you can see it was muddy down in Northwestern tonight. Okay, 4th and goal, they elect to have Dominic Price go for the field goal and the win. Snap, kick, good, and Iroquois wins it in overtime by a final score of 3-0. A big win for the Braves coming on strong. Here's the scoreboard in the single A bracket. The Braves win it 3-0, and they will play Eisenhower, maybe the surprise of the night. And the surprise not only in the fact that Eisenhower beat Cambridge Springs, but the Blue Devils had a 14-0 lead at halftime. Eisenhower shut them out in the second half by putting 17 points on the board and won it by a final score of 17-14. So in the single A bracket, it'll be Eisenhower and Iroquois for the championship next week. The AAA bracket had some great teams.
Of course, they advance in the single A bracket in Cambridge Springs. Their season ends, so it was a nice campaign for them, but it's all over now. And Mike, you were in Funky Town today.
In Funky Town, Buffalo, but that brings us to pro football, Duff, and a great day for Brown.
Straight season, the Edinburgh Fighting Cancer will take controlled the Bisons during their regular season meeting, but both teams have changed since then.
They beat us by 3 touchdowns the first time we played them. Of course, since that time, they have improved, and we have also improved. And, you know, we are looking for a good football game. It'll be a competitive game out there. They're an excellent football team, and even back at the beginning of the year, whenever they were struggling, we knew that they were going to come through because it's the type of people they are over there.
The title game is set for Saturday. Season county teams battling for a District 10 football championship this weekend. The Braves won their last 3 to make the playoffs and have made the title game with hard work and a loose attitude.
So this is an unusual group. They have a lot of fun playing, and I've never seen this group get nervous yet. So they just go out, and I guess they recognize the fact that this really wasn't
a tandem of talented runners from Eisenhower. It will take hard work to stop them for the D10 title.
We're just putting in
a different kind of defense, and we're just going to play normal defense that we have most of the year.
Because we have to shut down their running game, and they have a good one. And they do a lot of interesting things with their running game, and it's going to be a good, tough ball game for us.
Joining us now is Fairview head coach Jack Beswick. And Jack, your club has Fort LaBeouf in round 2. How do you feel about playing them again?
Well, we really feel good about playing Fort LaBeouf. Playing against a Joe Chesman team is going to be an exciting affair. Our whole school's really hopped up for the game.
You guys kind of got off to that rough start, but what keyed the turnaround for you?
Well, I think our seniors got together and then decided that they wanted the team to have a good year. And you know, when you've been around as long as I have, you don't panic. You know what works, and we just worked harder at that.
Was there one game you think that turned it around for you?
Well, I think, you know, we did play well in our first 3 ball games, even though we lost. But our Girard game, we put on a good point total, and we won 30-20, and that got us off and rolling.
How do you feel about trying to beat the same club twice in the same year?
Well, I think that, you know, both teams are good teams, and I know each and every game's a different one. We had a lot of breaks in the first game, and I know Joe feels the same way I do, that as the season progresses, both of our teams are getting better and better. And I think our team is at a peak right now, and I think Joe feels that way too, so it's going to be a whole new ball game.
In what ways have the teams changed the most?
Well, I think that as you play and you start to win some games, your team gets more and more confident, and I think that's a big thing. It's a mental boost.
Every year your club has been in District 10 play. Last year came close to a title. What would it mean to you and your club to win a championship?
Well, we're really going to work hard to try to pull this one off. I think that we learn something each and every time we play in a playoff game, and we've had a lot of experience in it, so maybe we can get lucky this Saturday night.
All right, good luck Saturday night.
Thanks you very much.
Thanks for coming in. Now, after losing to Cincinnati last night by a 9-7 score, the Panthers return to action tonight at the Civic Center to face Louisville. And that's sports. Lisa and Frank return right.
Dave Renna has those championship highlights.
For the second week in a row, the Iroquois Braves had their fate decided in OT. But this time around, the black and gold were lucky to escape the first extra session. 2 illegal motion penalties, a clip, and an intentional grounding move Iroquois back to midfield. Needless to say, they didn't score. On its first 3 plays, Eisenhower drove to just inside the 1-yard line. But on 4th down, Steve Woody was stuffed by a wall of Brave defenders. OT number 2. Iroquois again stopped the night's strong running game, and the Ikesters had to settle for 3. Faced with a 4th down at the 1, Coach Phil Glass kept his kicker on the bench and gave the ball to Chris Oswald. You make the call. For Coach Glass, the decision to go for the win was an easy one.
I just don't play football that way. We started that tradition last year. What do we got to lose? I mean, we're an up-and-coming program, and we just got to go for it. And I'll tell you, these guys, you can't take anything away from these guys. You know, the more people tell them they can't do it, the better they get.
I just came back down, I just kept on driving my feet. I didn't think I made it, but I guess I did.
So after starting the season at 1-3, the Braves finish with a 13-10 overtime victory and a district championship. Not bad for...
Jet TV's Brian Duffy reports.
No score at the half, but both teams punched one in on their first possessions of the second half. Troy Stenger, 18 yards around left end. Iroquois with a 7-0 lead. Eisenhower tied it right up. Steve Whitty, 2 yards, 7 all, and the game would go into overtime. Iroquois with the ball first in OT, but 4 penalties. The Braves go absolutely nowhere. Eisenhower then had a chance to win. They moved it down to the 1, but on 4th, instead of trying for a field goal, they go for it. Whitty is stuffed, and we go to a second overtime. Eisenhower with the ball first in the second OT. They again get it close. This time they kick, and they get the 3. Iroquois needing at least 3 to tie, moves it down to about the
first quarter. Here is Steve Witt. He fumbles, and the Braves come up with a football. They recover. Chris Oswald now, a big night for the Braves. Watch him get good yardage as he punches his way into the secondary. And then they'll give it to Oswald again. This time he goes around right end, picks up some block, also picks up a first down before he's finally brought down. But this drive would end on 4th down. Oswald, up the middle, is stopped at the 15-yard line of Eisenhower. Iroquois threatens but does not score. Last play of the first half now. Watch as James McKenna